Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Anime Reactions, and I've obviously been putting up community posts asking you guys, do you guys want the ceiling light on, do you want it off, because I have the lamp here, to light up my face for videos, and so far, you guys have, there's only been one vote so far, but you voted for wait a minute, did that say on or off? Shoot. Oh yeah, off. Doy. Yeah, there's only one vote and it's been for off. So I turned it off because, well, I need to turn it off anyway because my mom says it makes the room hot. And why was that flickering just now? It only flickers, only supposed to flicker when it's on. Swear to God, this stupid house. Anyway, this is going to be my review for Ascendance of a Bookworm, episodes 7 through 9. I just checked episodes 7 and 9, 7, 8, 9, and they do mention what the devouring is in this episode, and we actually get introduced more. His name was Benno. The merchant that they end up getting approved for being apprentices to once they have their baptisms. And it turns out that he is a brother-in-law that Otto has. So, yeah. Benno is Otto's brother-in-law. Who would have thought? And, yeah. He ends up selling, or she ends up selling, the rights to the formula for the shampoo to him, and they still get the exclusive right to produce the paper and everything. And Let's, I think, would be in charge of selling it or something. And they end up setting up, instead of just getting the money and that'd be it, mine was telling him essentially that we want to be able to have a job here instead of just getting, the money and leaving, because she doesn't want to be tossed aside once they got the product that they want, because she obviously knows that people will do that. And they end up signing a contract, using contract magic to sign a contract between them for the shampoo, and I'm guessing the rights to the paper and stuff. They end up going to, see a few people, like a craftsman and a lumberman, to get the stuff they need to make the paper, obviously. And during this whole time, Lutz is very, very suspicious about Mine at this point, because the Mine that he knows would not have any knowledge of this. She would not have any knowledge of paper or anything like that. So there's no way she could have picked up on that knowledge, because nobody knows how to make paper from plants. The paper they make is from goat and what was it? Sheep and goat skin, I think. So there should be no reason for Mine to know what paper made from plants is. So this is already a huge red flag to him that this is not the Mine he knows. And he mentions this to her. And yeah, she ends up having a nightmare that the others are trying to get her to get Mine back. The Mine they know back. Thankfully, that was a dream. And, yeah, they go to get registered for the Merchants Guild. And he goes to take them to see the Guildmaster. And also, Lutz is having to be the one to keep an eye on Mine whenever she goes to see Mr. Benno, because he essentially banned her from going there without him, essentially. And we actually get a confirmation on what the devouring is when Benno was talking with Otto. And apparently it's a condition where normally only the nobles are born with mana, but when children are born with mana, the mana will grow as they grow, and if it gets to be too much, it'll devour the person from the inside out. Thus, that's why it's called the devouring. And it only occurs in children, and most, if not all the time, the children will not live to see their baptisms. Which means that mine has probably a little over a year to that point. So, yeah. So that essentially is what she has. And as far as we know, there is no cure, but it can be treated with magical items. However, these magical items are expensive. And unless you are a nobleman or a noblewoman, you are not going to be able to get at them. Sorry. I just got done doing 2 readings for Ascendance of Bookworm. Anyway, let me see. What else happened? Anyway, they go to see the Guildmaster, and he tries to get Mine and Lutz to sign over to his store instead of working with Benno, and obviously Benno is ticked off and not going to have that. And the Guildmaster says, essentially, you don't have to feel like you have to say no just because you have such a scary escort. I was like, yeah, he can be scary. But, yeah, anyway, they get what they need to make the paper, and they actually start working on it. And so it seems that Lutz, things are back to normal between Mine and Lutz. And they start breaking the paper and, everything. And she actually finds a tromba fruit while waiting for Lutz to go and get firewood and for the stuff to finish steaming, And unbeknownst to her, I actually found this out when I looked up what the devouring was, and if it ends up being cured later, it turns out that the reason that I'm assuming that the reason that it sprouted as quickly as it did and didn't suck up the nutrients from the ground is because it had sucked up Mine's mana. Because that's what the trombas do. They suck up the nutrients from the surrounding area when they sprout and grow, thus robbing the area of the nutrients that the plants need to grow. So it ends up it can draw mana as well. So, yeah, that's why it sprouted as quickly as it did. Thankfully, Lutz and the others were able to take it down before it could grow very big, and they decided to use what they cut down from the tromba plant in their steamer to make paper. So they ended up making 2 different batches of paper. One from tromba roots, and the other from, the plants they had gathered before. Once they got everything ready, and they were just waiting for the paper to finish drying, he confronts Mine again, and asks her, "Are you really mine? You should not know of all this stuff if you were actually mine." And she has to finally tell him that she is not mine, that she is essentially not from here. And he tries to get her, to give Mine back, and obviously she says, and I actually had a theory about this when I was watching the episodes before this, that the actual Mine had died in that fever in the beginning, and Urano had taken her place. Because it was either that, or she was sharing a body with Mine's soul, and that's why she still had the memories. Though she could have still possibly had the memories. Mine could have died, and Urano immediately would have... I think they were in the same body at the one time, but then Mine had died, and once Mine died, Urano took over the body. So for a brief moment, it was 2 souls in one body, but then Mine died due to the fever, or rather, due to the devouring, and, she took over. So, yeah, Mine mentions that even if I could bring Mine back, I think what you'd probably end up with is a corpse. Or rather, if I was to leave, you would end up with a corpse, because Mine is more than likely dead at this point. So, Lutz admits that, yes, he is okay with her being Mine, because that's the only real memories that he has of Mine is her. Because, as we all find out later, Mine was normally bedridden, for most of her, if not almost all her life, due to the devouring fevers. So he doesn't really have any memories of the actual Mine, and if he does, they are very far back to where he doesn't really remember her. So any memories he has of Mine is the Mine that we know. So he promises to essentially keep their secret. Anyway, the guild master ends up getting them to come and meet his granddaughter, Frida. And Frida appears to be really nice because he essentially wanted them to make a hair ornament for her because she had seen Tuli's during her baptism and she wanted one just like it. So they offer to pay her for the ornaments, obviously, and she obviously wants to make Frida 2 of them, one for each pigtail. And at first, Mine doesn't want to be paid for the second one because they were only supposed to be paid for one. And Frida still wants to pay her for both of them. So Lutz comes up with a compromise and says, well, why don't we make the second one half off? Since you want to pay her, but she doesn't want the full money. Benno was annoyed at this, obviously, later on. But at least they made something off the second one. And, we find out that Frida knows about the devouring and explains it to Mine, and Mine realizes that it's exactly what she's got. But not only can it not be cured, but the treatment for it is very expensive, and only nobles really have the items to have it. To be able to, do it. And Frida knows all this because she's got the devouring as well. Oh boy. Yeah, I was not expecting that when I was watching that episode. Anyway, if I missed anything important, please let me know, and I'll get to work on editing the book readings, and I'll see you guys next time.